Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. We got a bit of a delay as I'm just waiting for Unity to finish updating because I found out that there's an updated version. Ran it and it's taking us a while to verify. But I do have Zabby here with me. How are you doing today, Zabby?
Doing okay. Feeling better than I have in a while here, so glad I can finally help this out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I may have found what's causing the issue with the ball drifting to the left when we shoot. And I think it might be a collision issue. Because when I was sort of messing around and getting used to setting up collisions and stuff like that, the bounding boxes, for one, was off a bit. The other object, oh my god. Wait until you see it. It's going to be insane.
And did you... Because I'm looking at your channel, I'm not seeing anything live right now. Are you sure you're live and not just recording?
Live. Could be.
Is this
private? Let me check on my end. Hold on here one moment. This up. Sure. Heck. It says I'm live. Check some. Let me see. I'm showing. That's I'm live. Showing it. It's very, very odd.
And sometimes YouTube just does YouTube things and it doesn't want to work, but this seems like a bit much.
Yeah, so when I'm on my actual channel, I'm showing that there's nothing there. But when I do YouTube Studio, I go into content and live, it shows live.
Not set to private or anything like that?
Live stream. Me double checking. Sure. Okay. Correct. One more thing. Sure. Here's the.
Hmm.
I found the problem.
What happened?
For some reason, it has it put as
I could do it.
unpublished. Go. That should be a problem. So now here. Studio again, real quick. We're still validating things, so. And
Okay, I am showing a stream has popped up from my alerts, though not on the channel itself.
public.
Hey, good news, the audio all checks out.
Yeah, it's showing on mine live to public. Only able to view it.
Okay, it's showing up now for me over on your page. It probably just took a while for that to populate.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's showing live. We're good. Well, at least we caught that, and we have the recording of stuff. So waiting for everything.
Yeah, so if anyone listens who wants to be a streamer, always double check your settings before you go live.
Yes. And even then at times, because I'm using the presets from the last time we did this, and it went live. We had some viewers and stuff like that. And so this time it should have carried all those settings over, that was public. So actually what I should do, let me hit the Windows key again. Come on. Give me. Try this then. Don't do it. There we go. Let me bring up the browser again. I want something else. While I'm waiting for this whole entire thing to validate.
No idea why it's taking that long. Mine got through in like 5 minutes or so with the download.
Huh. Lucky. Public. Yeah, public. Okay, yeah, for some reason it put unlisted public for the last one. Public. There, fixed all the problems there.
Well, maybe try pause and restart the verify on that thing.
Yeah.
Which considering you made yours in 5.3 anyway. Mentioned a bit earlier.
Maybe just launch
5.4.
that.
Yeah.
Launch that.
Because if it's installing 5.4 from scratch, that might be why, because mine just upgraded from 5.4.2.
Yeah. See what we get.
Yep. One thing when working with basically third-party engines here is when they decide to update, if you go with it, roll the dice. See how much things break or don't break.
Yep.
Of course, hey, at least you're still staying with the main engine. You're not doing the Duke Nukem Forever thing of changing engines every couple years, which is why it took, what was it, decade and a half, 2 decades to come out.
That's just because the developer was like, ooh, there's new techniques. I'm going to put that in the game. Ooh, there's new techniques. I'm going to put that in the game. Feature creep after feature creep after feature creep. No, you don't do that kind of thing.
Yeah, one of the first things that we got over in our game dev training is get your document made. That document is your Bible. Follow it. If you have something you really, really want, unless you can fully justify it 110%, it goes in the sequel.
Exactly. And here's the thing. I've actually used that whole entire dev document in a thing to fellow game developers that I was working with and saying, no, we can't do this for this reason. It's in the dev doc. And there's like, oh, yeah. But I brought other reasons, such as it cost way more money to do. And it's something that would upset the fans if we didn't. Because, well, we already promised.
I think I know the one you're talking about there.
Oh yeah, it's a project we both worked on.
Yeah, well, from the major testing things that we did on it.
Yeah, years of work on that.
Probably the highest profile one, but we can't go into more detail than that.
Yeah, that was the highest profile one. I've had some other ones that were semi.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some that I'm surprised I didn't get brought on to.
Well, there's one that I was testing out that was for a pretty major franchise that actually I think it still counts as a fairly major, though it's not like top tier anymore. But since it never saw the light of day.
Yeah. Of course, right after I launched this, it does the whole entire... Of course.
Just trying to spite you, that's all.
So as soon as this pops up, I'll close it down. I'll open up the right one. Which means it might take a little bit longer, but hey. I don't mind people seeing what games and programs I'm using.
Only clear part of your desktop is Statesman's backside.
It just shows I'm an ass.
Yeah, no argument here.
Of course not. I'm as much of an ass as you are.
Yeah, there has to be a balance in these things. If one person in friendship is too much of an ass, then, and pushes people away. But if everyone's equally a jerk in the same sort of ways, then everything just kind of synchronizes.
Yeah, and the thing is we're not actual asses. We're smart asses.
Occasionally dumb asses.
Yes, but most of the time, smart asses. We're asses with degrees.
And yet we're not management.
Well, you're not management. That's done there. I'm going to close this down. I'm going to go back into Unreal. Well, actually, let's... Oh, there we go. The library. Launch this one.
And then you're probably going to have to tell it to manually open up the project.
Yeah. Well, let me guess. It's going to ask again. Should I allow this program? I'm not liking that in Windows 11. If I tell it yes one time, that should be it.
I mean, I can see the point of asking again on there, because if it sees that the executable's been replaced,
yeah, but
then there's a concern it may have been replaced by malware. And
yeah, well, the thing is it asked twice when I clicked on the 5.3.21. Said, are you sure you want to run this? Yes. Are you sure you want to run this? Yes.
Yeah, maybe there's a bootstrapper in there.
Yeah. At least this time I only asked once.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really can't wait to get this game to actual vertical slice, and all I'm really doing is throwing in levels and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to where it was, and then add multiplayer. That's when the real fun begins.
Yeah, because we had a fair chunk of plans going around that we just didn't get to before we weren't able to keep going.
Yeah, and that's just because we needed to have multiplayer enabled first.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's the point in putting in a multiplayer battle mode if you don't have multiplayer in?
Mm-hmm.
You really can't test it.
Well, I mean, we did have hot seat version on there.
We did have hot seat, but I got a bunch of YouTubers who are anxious and chomping at the bit to play this game, especially Adventures with Dread. Dread, her and Magic really want to check this out, and I think Mama T, who's actually started streaming and did her first live stream yesterday.
Oh, cool!
And yeah. I was on, she said, hey, we're playing golf with friends. Do you want to play? Okay, so I just double click on this then.
Should be able to. Probably give you a little pop-up about importing. Yeah.
Just open copy.
Yeah. That's a smart way of doing it on there.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I basically said, yeah, sure, I'll join you guys in a game. And I think it was Saturday, not Sunday. I was too busy. It might have been Sunday. I don't know. Yesterday was just no, it was yesterday.
Yeah, I overheard. I saw you on Golf with Friends a bit there. And then I heard you talking Mama T through kind of the intro to City of Heroes.
Yeah, that's because when we're talking about Golf with Friends, she asked what I was going to be up to, and I said, well, I'm getting ready to do a stream in a couple hours, and like, oh, where are you going to be streaming? City of Heroes. Oh, what's that? And I said, it's a massive multiplayer online game where you play a superhero. It's like, cool, I'm going to have to check that out. And she actually jumped in and watched the first stream, so I went and showed character customization, and then showed some of the combat, and then after we were done with that whole entire playthrough of 2 hours, I stayed a little bit longer and showed her some of the other characters and different designs I'd made and how combat works for those. She's like, I think I'm gonna have to get this. I'm like, I'm sorry. Everyone in voice chat just laughed hysterically. She was also in voice chat too.
Mm-hmm.
And she just didn't understand what I had gotten her addicted to.
Yeah, and that's how you do it, just one person at a time.
Yep. I mean, that's a lot of comments I get on my YouTube channel for my City Heroes. Oh wow, I didn't know that this game was still live. Never got a chance to play it when it was live, and then they play it, and I get messages. Your channel ruined my life. I'm
as long
joking.
As you don't turn on the kitchen, you're okay.
Yeah, that's a good one.
She's never gonna live that down.
No, she's not. I've told that story multiple times. It's something. I think she's never touched the game since. I think she's too afraid to. She wants to.
Mm-hmm.
But she just realized that if the character creation is that addictive, I think she's worried about what the rest of the game's gonna be like. And I think she was the smart one to make that move.
Yeah, now
not
like us
so
with our. Yeah, I know on one server that I've barely touched, I got at least 3 dozen alts on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, there's all the other servers as well. So, let's just route it to 50, and that might still be underselling things a bit.
Yeah.
And I don't even play the game regularly.
And that doesn't touch all my alts, and a lot of them are like at level 2, level 6.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Well, you gotta get the look together, get the powers in, take a few photos, and then okay, let's do something else.
Yeah.
I'm sure on live, the vast majority of my characters didn't really make it past 13.
I had several level 50s. I had my electric blaster made it to 50.
Mm.
And that's when everyone started realizing, oh my god, electric blast is god tier build. Mm-hmm. Before then, they just were complaining to me, you're an idiot for taking melee. And then they saw what I was doing with my melee, and they're like, you're freaking brilliant. I'm like, did you not read the descriptions? If you would have read the descriptions of every power, you would have seen that this is capable and that you could literally drain all the endurance, and they're all standing there like idiots if you sock it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And the funny thing is I have issues with reading. I've been very public and open about that. And they're just like, okay, so let's see. We need to bring up, what was it?
Well, probably need to go to File Open and then get recent levels on there.
File Open?
Yeah.
Open assets level? Or open levels? Because we're in the right level.
Well, right now it's just in the default.
Yeah, and that's what we were putting.
Well, I mean, it's straight up untitled, so it doesn't even have one on there yet. So go to levels, and you'll have where you actually put the stuff in world.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm wanting the thing where I can drag and drop things into the world. That box. That
okay,
is.
So that was
output log. Here we go. Found it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Shooters. So.
Because I mean, you had the level from last time where you actually had everything in there.
Levels. Yep. Test. Open. Okay.
And now you should have it in the list there. Whole bunch of stuff unloaded.
Shooter. Okay. Let me zoom to that.
Yeah, where is you? Yep.
There it is. So let's do play of this.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
It may have forgotten the settings and just put the camera somewhere else.
Yeah. Let me stop this. Go F. Go up some. There we go.
All right. Yeah, hit the 3 dots over to the right of that first. You want to make sure that it is set to current camera location. So that's what happened. Default player start is why it jumped over.
So
down a bit.
Current camera location. There we go.
Exactly. Yeah. Now when you go play.
Play. That's not much force at all. We need to up the force.
Mm-hmm.
So go here. We'll go into the blueprint. And where's the force thing? Looking. The mouse click.
Yeah, so if we had it set up correctly, it should actually be a property over on the instance itself. You can just tweak.
Okay, so let's go ahead and instead.
Yeah, just go back out to the level.
Go back out to the level. Okay, so close this out. Okay, I got the object here. Oh, speed right here.
Yep. Crank that.
Let's do 2000. See what that does. Yep, see?
Yep, and now go sideways.
So we gotta fix that, but the first thing I want to show you guys is, so we have this object here. I'm gonna go back, bring this up. I want to bring up the shooter. Okay. Focus on the shooter. We can.
Scale issues.
Yeah. There we go. So this is the shooter that we have. If I go here and go show, simple collision, right? Zoom in a bit. That collision box is off. Damn. So touchy.
Yeah, I mean, when you're zoomed in that far, it's trying to scale all the inputs. So that's... And I know you messed with fixing that as well.
Yeah.
But of course, that was also on 5.3. That's when 5.4. Something.
But anyways, this collision is off. So, with the collision being off, all you do is go collision, delete selected collision, go collision, add simple box collision, and now it has the right collision to it. I click off of it. Again, back up some. So, down there. Anyways, you guys get the idea. I'm barely tapping it and it's jumping. There we go. So as you can see, the collision is actually now marked correctly. I'm going to click save. Close this. And the one I want to show you, this one, you're going to go, so okay, you see how we are here with this? I mean, in this one, their way to show. And where's
collision up above?
Collision. There you go. You see how much tighter that is? So let's turn off the collision. Own collision, because that just chugs. Okay, now next thing I want to show you guys is let's go to the ball. Click on the ball. Ooh, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, that's the material. So
yeah, that's the material. There's the... We have that. Oh, that's a better scroll. So I go show. Again, simple collision. That's the collision it gave the ball. Is that not disgusting?
Yeah, that's... Well, go over to the right a bit.
Like camera-wise?
Yeah, like rotate around to the right. Yeah, so then like forward there and then turn left again.
A moment here. My finger positioning correct?
No, other side. But yeah. Okay, it was just the way it was looking at there, because it almost looked like, wait a second, did they just put a four-sided triangle in the middle of that? Just straight into the middle? No, it was just how
what we're going to do,
wireframe was.
We're going to go collision, remove the collision, and we go collision, add sphere collision. Look at how much cleaner that looks.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do.
I mean, if you've got a simple primitive shape, all the math for stuff like cubes and spheres is so very simple, so very fast for any modern engine to do. Use it whenever you can get away with it.
Yep. So we have that done. Now, close this. Let's run this again. It's still shooting wrong. So my thinking is, since it's no longer doing the 45, it's doing to the side. What we need to do is go back to the shooter. And I know on the shooter we put a pointer on it.
Yeah, that was as part of the blueprint.
Okay, so I need to go into the blueprint?
Itself. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go here, go to the blueprint. I thought it was a visual thing that we put on it.
Yeah, so look at it in world, and you should see a sub-object for it.
Let's see.
Yeah, it's in your details list over on the right.
Okay.
Barrel end.
Barrel end. Okay. There's that. So it looks like it's shooting this way. So we need to rotate this. Around. We need to change the rotation of this. Let's try that. So rotate. Around 90 degrees that way. Go back to move. What?
And so decide to go over to 80 with the rounding error. Well, I mean, you've got the access there, so just physically type that into 90.
Yeah. 90. Okay. So now if we hit play.
So it was my first thing that you said you checked all the rotations on.
Hey.
And the collisions was definitely a good find as well.
Yes.
I will say that.
Because can you imagine that ball trying to roll with that collision?
Chunk, 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 bounce, bounce.
It's just jumping every so often as it rolls. Okay, so we got that fixed. I'm going to click here in this. I'm going to hit another save. Okay, so that's all done. So now, next thing we need to do, got the speed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down. Got way up in the sky. Let's zoom out a good distance. That. One thing I gotta work on is figure out how to do a snap.
There should be an option in there.
We're getting close to the ground though. Okay. That's too high.
Yeah.
I think that's good enough. Okay, now if we hit play, the ball rolls.
Amazing.
So we got that all set up. Now there's two things we can work on next. One, we can work on the camera thing, which I think will be a good idea, and being able to move and turn with the mouse, the shooter. So I think we should hook up the camera first, just to be behind the shooter, and then do the movement. So
Well, though also what you're going to want to do is want to make sure that those changes you made to the rotation are in place over on the base item itself, so you don't have to redo them every single time.
So let me go here. That's what I was originally going to do, is go to this base item here. Open this. No, that's the blueprint. I don't want the blueprint. I want the base item. Okay, got the base item.
That's just the static mesh. Static mesh is just the model and collisions. That's all it is. So you do want the blueprint, but you don't want to. All right, and now from here, where you see where you've got barrel end over on the left.
Barrel end. There we go.
Now in here, you can fix that rotation
to 90. There we go. And we click save.
Yes.
Because we don't need to compile. We didn't do any code changes. No point in compiling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we got that done. So, camera. Let me think. I mean, we could do movement first, but then we have to put in camera. So how would you work this out? You being the coder, how would you work this out? Movement first and then camera, or camera and then movement?
I'd say probably the camera first. So just that way, when you actually do start moving it, you don't have to worry about vanishing off screen when you're in the middle of doing something.
Yeah. That's probably another attachment thing, a sub object that we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. I'm trying to remember here. Make it a sub object to this. We just go here and then go asset, right?
Oh, let's see. Okay, so actually, you see where you've got components? Let's check under add inside there, see what we can find.
Components, add, audio, camera.
Oh, there you go.
So we'll just add the camera. We'll just call this shooter camera.
Sure.
Okay, there we go. Now we gotta set the orientation for it though, don't we?
Yeah, so now that you've got this here, go ahead back out of the blueprint editor and take a look at it in World.
Okay, because it'll be a lot easier. Compile?
Yeah, may as well.
Because I got a question mark there. So there's that. Do a save just in case. There. Where's that camera? Yeah, that camera needs to be moved. Up. Rotate it. That's another 90-degree rotation. Actually, put that 0. Oh. 180. Damn, they made that camera big. Now we're seeing that. Where's our shooter, though?
That's an excellent question.
Fine. We're actually locked onto the shooter.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let's take a look inside the shooter blueprint. Can you scroll down and actually see the camera object inside there right now? On the list on the right? Bottom. Details section. Yeah.
Yeah. Shooter camera right here.
Yeah, that's what you want to actually be modifying, because right now you're modifying the base transform for the shooter itself.
Let's undo that. Undo that. Undo that. Undo that. Okay, there we go. So we need. Where's the camera disappear?
Again, remember you want to work with the details section. That's where all the subcomponents are.
That's right. So bring this back up.
Right. No, not yet. Look to your right. Right side of the screen, midway down. details.
That's right.
Yeah, then click that shooter camera.
Okay, and this one, that's where we go 90. Now we got that right. Bring it up some. So there's the shooter.
Yeah, and you can kind of orient it based off the point of view that you got in the lower right-hand corner there. So you can...
Oh, okay.
Because that's basically what the camera's showing. So adjust that so you have a decent view of looking down the barrel.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on that as I've been doing that, to keep an eye on the ball.
Yeah, so maybe set a location to like 2 or 1 or 2 on there, because you can just tweak the numbers directly.
Yeah. Up a bit more. Rotate that. I think that works. Put that too also. Oh. Okay, so we got the camera there. We have the camera, and I think that's a good angle. What do you think?
Yeah, and looking on range. You don't need it to be perfectly lined up, especially because you might well be aiming at some local stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got that put in. So let's go back to the blueprint, right? Oh, that's debug.
Yeah. Yes, now go. Yes, remember those. And actually, you can just kind of adjust where that window is itself.
Yeah.
Now on the left, you want to click on shooter camera in the component section.
Shooter camera, and then I can take this, move this over here, and I can copy those numbers over.
Yep.
This one is -2. This one is 2. This one, -20. This one, 90. There we go. Go ahead and over and do a save.
Hmm.
So now, every time this camera comes into play, it's going to hold that setup behind that. Okay, so now we need to make it so we can rotate and have the camera follow.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably going to be under the shooter itself, right?
Yeah, so basically, your controls are probably going to be on the event graph for the shooter, but they're going to be referencing the shooter camera object itself a lot, because that's the transform that you're... Well, actually, no, actually, scratch that, because the camera's in a good position. So where the shooter is, you want to modify the base so the camera will stay locked into that exact spot.
Exactly. We want the camera to follow the rotation of the shooter as it rotates left and right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so since that's already set to local variables, so now we need to come up with a set of controls for, well... Yes. And since technically you're never going to be actually translating the shooter directly as a player, because it's always just going to be, here's where it starts, here's where your next shot comes from, here's where the next shot comes from. So that part is just going to be set code-wise.
Yeah.
So you don't need to worry about the directional, translational, or otherwise what's basically the regular movement for things.
Yeah.
All you need to worry about is rotation.
Yep.
Which will simplify things greatly.
Yeah. Yes, it does. It's just knowing how to do it with blueprints.
I mean, you've already got a control in here for being able to shoot. So you've got that tied to left mouse button.
Yep.
Yes, we've got enable input. We've got pick up left mouse button. So Now, again, longer term is you're going to want to go through and have an actual proper input manager that can allow you to rebind everything.
Yes.
But since we're not at that point, we just want to get stuff working. And that is one thing that this is nice, because now you can just see all you're looking for is those events, like where it says left mouse button right now.
Mm-hmm.
Then you know when you go back in for the real version, find those, replace them with the proper hook, and you're good.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is like what would be, so it'd be mouse movement?
If you want to tie it just to mouse X and mouse Y, that.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, it should be possible. So we just need to go in and.
Hold on. I'm doing the wrong thing. Okay. So it's right click. No. Yeah. Click here and then click mouse, right?
Yeah. So we want an event. Mouse. That's. Oh, okay. So, no, that pulls it for the mouse value of where it is currently. Mouse event. There we go. So under mouse events, just do a space and type event, and it should give you, it gives you the whole list.
Okay. Mouse event.
Mouse X sounds right to me.
X. Okay. Okay, so we got mouse X. Move that here. I want to keep. Okay, so we got this.
Yeah, so basically this then is going to trigger every time the mouse moves left and right.
Yeah. And then that should and then we want to adjust the input of the rotation of the shooter. Let's see.
So,
that. I'm trying to think here. Get player controller. Okay. I'm trying to figure out how I would do this. Because my mind, when I'm thinking notes, I'm thinking graphically. Mm-hmm. So I'm having to reset my mind and think the slight little bit of coding I know. Which is why I have you here. Because this thing would look like a complete mess.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, it would be let's see. No, not. My mind's frazzled right now. I keep on thinking get rotation of.
And that's not necessarily a bad place to start thinking, but it turns out Unreal has some functions right in here. The one I found that's looking promising is add actor local rotation.
This one right here.
Yep.
Okay. So
now
this plugs into this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But we're going to have to do a little bit of finagling to get a single float value, which is the amount that the mouse has moved left or right, versus an actual full-on rotation. So you drag out left from delta rotation. We will get some objects in here.
On. So drag out from here.
No, you see where it says delta rotation?
Oh, delta rotation. Oh, drag out from here.
Yeah, just drag that out to the left, and it's going to give you a thing to look for. Which is, these are the different things that will give you a rotator that you can then plug into it.
Transformation? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, right now I'm actually looking under the math section.
Okay.
I mean, you can take a look under transform, see if anything jumps out on there, and we
check this back out again. Form. It's got get actor rotation. Let's try actor. Get actor eye viewpoint. Said you were checking under math. About physics. Get actor orientation target. I don't think that would do. You said we're looking for a float, right?
Yeah, so what I've found in there is under the math section, there's a set of functions, make rotation from X, Y, Z. Basically, you can give it all the different axes that you want rotated on.
Is that under the math transform?
No, it should be under rotator.
Rotator. That was the next one I was actually gonna. Okay, so under rotator, it's make rotator X, right? From X?
Well, it's whichever axis this is going to be rotating on. So take a look over at your main screen there, and so let's see which axis is going down, straight down from top to bottom.
Okay, so...
Because you do have it rotated. Right now it's on the camera, so you'll want to click over onto default scene route. And the details.
Oh. Yeah. Have that. So it's going to...
change.
Yeah, it's going to be rotating here on the blue.
Yep, so you want to actually create from Z.
From Z. Okay. So shouldn't... Okay, so create from Z. Let's bring this back. We want math. Rotator. Make root from Z. Okay, got that put in.
Yep. And now that you've got your X value, for now, we're probably going to need to do some scaling on it to make it work properly. Mm-hmm. But for now, just drag your axis value from the mouse event.
Okay.
Straight over to the Z.
Okay.
All right. It does its conversion on there because technically it gives you a single precision float, but what it needs is... It basically gets a little bit messy right inside there. I think it needs to turn it into a single precision, but that's what that little converter node just to the left does.
Yep.
It puts it in automatically. You don't have to worry about it.
Which is nice.
Mm-hmm. And doing handwritten code, you'd have to do the same thing anyway to make them play nicely together. So it just puts it in.
Okay.
So if all of this is correct, it should now just go through and turn it.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and save it and see if it does what I believe it will.
I love how you say if it will do what I believe it will. So let's hit play.
Okay, and
we need to change that x-axis to the z-axis because I cannot. When I move up and down, it works. So the x-axis is up and down.
Well, I think basically what's happening is the object is capturing the left and right mouse, and it's not sending that event on to anything else right now. So it should be rotating on left and right, but your up and down is tied over to the point of view camera that you're currently on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so go ahead, hit escape.
Okay.
And
go back into the script or blueprints?
Not necessarily. So for now, we need to figure out how do we get the point of view to look through the camera that we've created rather than the default.
Where was that we did it to where the camera was? Well, we need to set the player view. Make the shooter the player.
Yeah.
That way it's doing player view.
Mhm. And now for actually setting that is going to be something else.
Yeah.
Well, we've got the player start object.
Mm-hmm.
There's apparently an instance for a class called player start. Oh. Well, let's just how this is so we can see in what properties it has on here. So real fast, what I'm going to try doing is I'm going to delete the default player start that's sitting inside the scene itself.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go over to the cannon and add a player start to the cannon. Except that component does not exist. All right, so don't delete that on your side.
Damn, already did. I mean, you know, the size of that camera is just bugging the hell out of me.
Yeah, I think the scale for your mesh is still messed up because it shouldn't have been doing that on there. So
I'm gonna be working on that later.
Yeah.
Like, I can always re-upload a new mesh with the same name.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. Here, scale. That's not scale. That's rotate. Yes. Down. Ooh. Yeah, that's as small as we're going to get. That's at least a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I've already been looking at things on how to 3D model for Unreal. And I believe in Blender, it's like you gotta set your default values to 0.10 in Blender, and that will have your Unreal units. And I got remodel everything.
Well, hopefully you won't have to remodel. There should be.
Yeah, hopefully it will automatically convert those over when I carry them over, but we'll see. Because Blender is a donation. It's an open source thing, so.
Yeah, I mean, granted, the people that are modifying it are also the people that are going to be using it, so hopefully they'll come up with some nice stuff in there.
Well, it took them forever to come up with a nice graphical interface. Because they had programmer's interface where it's all shortcuts and stuff like that, and it's just like, oh god. And so a lot of 3D modelers didn't take it seriously because you had to memorize shortcuts, and every time you hovered over a button, it didn't tell you what the button did. It just had a bunch of code speak, and we're just all, us 3D modelers were just looking at that going, what the hell does this mean? And then when they went to version 3, that's when they put the UI in. And actually had names for things like, oh, this is rotation, this is movement, this is bevel, and that was it. You could still see the extra clips of code and stuff like that and show that, but would still say bevel, and then it would give you like the code and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
with the new UI, Blender has just blown up in the use. It's just so much friendlier to use. I mean, it was a bit of a headache for me, a real pain in the butt when I first started, but then it turned into a slight headache. Now with the UI overhaul they've done, it's a joy to use.
That's always good to see.
Yeah. It's not perfect by any means, but it's gotten better.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, no software is perfect.
Yeah.
This is the one that fits best, and then you just learn to work around the rough parts.
Yeah, I am not having to spend like $100 a month to use it. Which reminds me, I need to find a replacement for Photoshop.
I mean, there's Krita, there's Clip Studio Pro, I think is a
no. What I'm looking at is something called Effect or Affinity, something like that. So it's AFF, and they're the closest to the quality of what Photoshop does. But instead of paying a membership, it's like, oh, you pay about like $800, and then you outright own it. And so because of everything Adobe's been doing, everyone's flocking to it. And people are leaving Adobe left and right. I mean, Adobe recently has really shot themselves in the foot. So while you're researching, I need to go take a quick break. I'll be back in just a moment.
All right.
I'm going to leave things running
through documents
on my end in case you come up with anything. You can mention it to them. The viewers and stuff like that. Be right back.
Yep.
Okay, I'm back.
I'm still digging through a few things here.
Still digging through a few things. Okay.
It seems like what it wants to do is it wants to create a specific player object, which on the one hand is understandable, especially with how Unreal runs by default. But we have technically our player object already that stays in world.
Now that's a question I have.
Hmm.
I'm trying to debate. When you make your shot, should the shooter vanish or should the shooters stay until the marble makes it to its new position and the player goes to make their next shot?
I know how we did it in the Unity version was... Actually, I don't remember exactly how we did it in the Unity version. So I know what did happen was it would create the shooter, because the camera in that one was a fully separate object because we had some custom code running for that. And what would happen there is the camera would get detached from the shooter, it would attach onto the marble, and then it would just follow the marble going around.
Mm-hmm.
But for the shooter, I think we despawned the shooter when the marble was going, just so we didn't have to worry about problems with it colliding with the shooter itself or anything like that after it was already in motion. We just got rid of it and let it fly.
Yeah, I think we should probably do the same thing in this one.
Whereas just because something appears to be despawned, it doesn't actually have to be despawned. Because that is a common trick there, where instead all you do is, okay, just temporarily disable the static mesh on this. So you're not going to be rendering it. You're not going to be processing any physics on it. It's just in ghost mode for the moment.
Yeah.
And then when you need to re-enable it, it's okay, update the transform, re-enable it, and give control back.
There you go. Which is probably a cleaner way than instead of doing destroy spawn.
Yeah, because that way you dedicate this little chunk of memory, says this is the shooter, and it stays there, so you don't have to pay the extra cost for destroying it, for recreating it, for reinitializing it, for dealing with all that.
Yeah.
And technically we could do that with the marble too. So it comes in, it has the marble effectively already spawned in the world, except the marble just starts invisible and non-colliding with anything. So then when you shoot, it flips that. So the shooter goes into ghost mode, the marble goes into real mode, gets its impulse, and off it goes.
Yeah, and I probably put a delay when shooting, because you don't want the shooter to disappear and the marble will appear and then the marble will go flying up. You want to see the shooter stay there until it's
so it looks like it's actually coming out. Yeah,
exactly. See, I can think somewhat code, but I'm nowhere near your capabilities. I can get the idea of how it works in my head, but scribing it down into actual functioning code, that's where my challenge comes in. I'm pretty sure you're the same way when it comes to art. You get the vision in your head, and figuring out how to artistically put it in can somewhat be a pain, or am I wrong?
I mean, I can see what I want it to be pretty well. It's just the actual skills of translating that into some form of reality. They weren't that great before, and they've degraded from lack of use since then.
Yeah. So we are actually in the same boat.
Okay, nothing there. part of what I'm looking at on here is just the level editor play settings for it. It's like, okay, don't use a default player object. Go use this thing instead. But it doesn't seem to have something like that. Okay.
Check something. I'm gonna hit play again. With this. Oh, what the?
Well, good news is it's rotating. And yes, I did notice that over on my own. I just didn't tell him so we could get that.
It is rotating.
It's not doing so in any way that makes any form of sense.
Well, it's literally because of colliding with the ground plane. The mouse. So the mouse is locked into rotation. So when I go to rotate left or right, it doesn't rotate left or right. So let me end this. Let me go into play again. Now I'm going to do a rotate. Okay, let me try something else here.
Actually, there's a very easy way to see if it's going weird because of collision with the ground plane or because of something else.
It's mouse movement, I think.
I mean, technically, all we're doing is saying, okay, just rotate in this one direction. Or basically just rotate on this one axis based off this amount.
I wonder if it's because the rotation I had already done on it. Because originally this model is pointing up. Because if I actually go into this, I go into the blueprint, and I go to the shooter. Where's the rotation? It doesn't have the board.
Because those will be over on the left inside that component property view there.
Here it is.
Yeah, so that's currently set to scale, so you'll need to change that drop down over to rotation to see those. Or maybe not, that's relative versus world. So default scene root does not actually have... Okay, that can't be right. And that might be what's causing the problem, but that can't be right.
Yeah. I'm looking here.
So we got the transform. Default scene root has a transform. Yeah, so that carries through there. Okay, apparently, all right, the transform looks like it's on static mesh, but the way you've got your chart listed out is going different as well. So that may be.
Let me go to the static mesh then.
Well, no, I mean inside the blueprint layout.
Oh. Okay, so here. Yeah, I'm on the static mesh.
Well, no, so you're right on shooter blueprint self. Then default scene root is just kind of a base sub-object.
Oh, static mesh. Okay, here we go.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, so what I did is I rotated this by 90 degrees. And I think that might cause some slight problems with it.
Yeah, so, well, one part of this could be because we're doing it based off of local rotation. So instead of doing that, we can do a world.
Okay. Apply, compile. Let's test that.
What did you... I was looking over at my screen. What did you actually change?
I changed it to world, like you said. So I went from relative to world.
Okay, I was talking about when you look at the function, it's affecting the local rotation of the actor itself. So that's what I think is... So effectively, we want to change that transformation from add actor world rotation, or add actor local rotation to add actor world rotation.
Okay, so it's not on the actual static mesh then, right?
Right. We're just looking at the event graph right now.
Let me put that back then.
Yeah.
There we go, and we'll compile it. Okay, so where do I need to go?
All right. So you see where it says add actor local rotation on the right there. The blue one. On the event
this
graph.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That box itself, delete it.
Okay. It's deleted. And so I want to...
Yeah, so add actor world.
Add world. Transformation?
Rotation. Because that's the only thing we care about. Because if you do transformation, then you're going to have to deal with position and scale as well.
Okay, and so then this...
Now you should just be able to plug everything straight back across.
So plug that here.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. And this here.
Yep.
And we're done.
Yep. Recompile that.
Recompile. Save.
Let's see what happens.
Let's see how badly we broke things. Here.
It is still freaking out on mine, so that was not the fix I was hoping for.
Yeah, it still freaks out on mine too.
Yeah, so
but hey,
and this is why I said we'll see if it does what I hope it will. Because when you're dealing with poorly documented APIs, a lot of times you just have to try things and see if you can get closer to what you want.
At least we can shoot it up into the sky.
Yeah. Good luck replicating that angle any other time, but you can do it.
Okay, so back into the blueprint.
Yeah, so we know that function specifically is not what we want. But it is moving it. It's just not moving it in a way that we can actually predict right now.
Yeah. Sweep and teleport. We don't need.
Yeah, those aren't going to make any difference here. Especially because it gives the sweep option, but it doesn't. If you read the little hover over notes, it says it doesn't work.
Yeah. So. Oh, we need to connect a target to it, don't we?
Well, by default, it's going over the base root object.
Yeah.
So the basic transform for everything. So that you'd think that would work, but.
Okay.
Or maybe that is a function we need, but the rotator we're creating isn't what we want it to be. So it's.
Yeah, well, also, like I said, when I move the mouse, it's moving up and down instead of left and right for the camera.
One way to do a quick check on that, there is create another event to capture mouse Y, and then just don't hook it up to anything.
Okay.
Yes, a mouse event, mouse Y.
Oh.
And what I think happens, basically, the mouse.
Oh, not 7. Yeah. Y. Okay.
Yeah.
So debug key mouse Y.
Nope. Scroll down a bit because you're looking at the actual mouse events group and mouse Y.
Okay, this one.
Yep.
Okay, and just don't plug it into anything?
Yeah, just leave it there.
Okay. And so we'll do a compile, save, here, hit play.
Now click in window to activate it. And your camera doesn't move at all. Because what it's doing is it is grabbing that update event that the mouse is sending out. And then it's just, yeah, this is mine. No one else gets to see it. So it never passes on to the viewport camera.
Okay. So let's go ahead and go back into here and we can get rid of that Y one, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was just for demonstration purposes. Because once we get it working properly, we won't be using the viewport camera and that won't matter.
Yeah.
But for the moment is actually good that we're not looking through the viewport camera, because could you imagine what that rotation would look like from first-person view?
Insane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Just like to have my notes nice and clean. I think that's an OCD thing for me.
Hey, now, a congested nodes is never fun.
Well, I'm taking that this is going to take a bit of research to find.
Most likely.
So why don't we call this good here?
Mm-hmm. And it technically moves.
Yep.
And you did solve the problem with the shooting off at an angle.
Yes.
And you fixed a collision. So that is 2 things accomplished.
We fixed
2.5
things. Yeah, we fixed 3 things today. Added in some new blueprints, which will cause some new problems. and we'll fix those next time.
Thus is the way of development.
Yes. So I want to thank you guys all for watching. Have a great day.
Bye, everyone.